Lexi Hull embodied it more than anyone. She walked into the showdown with the Chicago sky already battered, still carrying 2 darkened bruises from a head-on collision with Gabby Williams that had left her with a pair of black eyes. By the time the night was over, she'd added a split lip courtesy of Camila Cardoso. Most players would have tapped out, taken a seat, or at least slowed down. Hull strapped her shoes tighter, pushed forward, and delivered one of the toughest performances of her career. It wasn't just her stat line. It was what she said afterward that set social media on fire. Reporters asked about the bruises, about the blood, about the grind. She smiled through the damage and reminded everyone that Indiana fights every day for each other, for the teammates who can't play, for the season that's on the line. In that moment, her words became the defining mantra of the Fever's playoff push. This was supposed to be the breaking point. Caitlin Clark's season had officially ended days earlier with her own announcement. A stubborn groin injury that lingered since mid-July finally forced the decision. Fans had clung to hope she might return, but Clark cut through the speculation with blunt honesty. She wasn't coming back. She admitted disappointment didn't cover how it felt, saying she'd spent hours in the gym chasing a comeback that never materialized. For Indiana, it was a gut punch. Their superstar was gone. Their depth was shredded. Sophie Cunningham was already sidelined. Sydney Colson lost to an ACL tear. Khloe Bibby battling knee issues. Aari McDonald recovering from a broken foot. Whole rotations vanished. Stephanie White, the head coach, admitted frustration, but she didn't flinch. She said they'd simply run out of time to bring Clark back safely, that her long-term health meant more than squeezing out a late return. The general manager echoed it. And yet, through it all, Clark stayed present. She wasn't on the court, but she was in the huddles, on the bench, cheering, coaching, encouraging. Cameras caught her eyes locked in, her voice rising with every Fever run. Even injured, her leadership pulsed through the arena. That leadership mattered because the Fever were balancing on a knife's edge. Sitting in 8th place, clinging to a single game over Los Angeles, every possession felt like the season. Slip once and the playoffs would vanish. The build-up to Chicago became its own crucible. Nothing glamorous, just survival. But instead of folding, Indiana exploded. From the opening tip, the Fever dominated the sky. The final score read 97-77, but the story was bigger than 20 points. It was about control. It was about humiliation. Indiana didn't just win. They swept Chicago clean 5 games in a row by an average margin of 24 points. That's not a rivalry. That's ownership. Kelsey Mitchell set the tone, dropping 20 points with 8 assists. She wasn't just scoring, she was orchestrating. Directing traffic, balancing the offense, attacking when needed. Natasha Howard followed with 18 points, 7 boards, and 4 steals, wrecking Chicago on both ends. Odyssey Sims brought punch off the bench. Aaliyah Boston looked steady in the paint, doing exactly what a franchise cornerstone should. Even Aerial Powers came in with energy, bullying her way through traffic and finishing plays that kept the sky reeling. The stat that told it all? 27 assists against only 9 turnovers. That's precision. That's chemistry. Especially for a roster constantly reshuffled by injuries. The ball zipped. Everyone touched it. Everyone trusted the system. Chicago had no answer. And then there was Lexi Hull, not the top scorer, not the flashiest, but the heartbeat. Her defensive pressure rattled Chicago's guards. Her bruised face, her bloodied mouth, her refusal to sit became the living metaphor for the Fever's season. She's in the best form of her career, posting personal highs across the board, but what mattered more was how she carried herself. White called her the epitome of what this team wants to be, resilient, fearless, willing to play through anything. And Hull didn't just show it with effort, she capped it with the quote that may define this playoff run, reminding everyone that they fight every day, no matter the bruises. For each other, contrast couldn't be sharper. While Indiana rallied around scars and sacrifice, their opponent unraveled in chaos. The Sky weren't just swept, they were embarrassed. Their so-called franchise player, Angel Reese, was suspended after her 8th technical foul. Her team looked better without her, moving the ball, defending harder, playing freer. Meanwhile, Indiana built unity from absence. Without Clark, without Cunningham, without depth, they discovered identity. The sweep did more than clinch bragging rights. It locked Indiana into the postseason for the 2nd year in a row. Think about that. After nearly a decade buried at the bottom, they've now forged back-to-back playoff trips, even without their superstar closing the season. The largest point differential in league history between two franchises sits in their pocket. Momentum is on their side. And the thought of Clark returning next year to a foundation already hardened by fire should terrify the rest of the league. This was never about one player. This was about resilience becoming identity, about a battered roster rising when it mattered most, about Lexi Hull's battered face turning into the symbol of a team that refuses to fold. Now the question belongs to you. Do you see Indiana as the future of the WNBA? Is Lexi Hull the unexpected warrior face of their playoff run? And when Clark returns, do the Fever instantly become contenders for something even bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss what comes next.